Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and there are so many pieces of news going on right now that I just can barely keep up. So let's get this going. Pablo Graylet sent me this one from Brad Garlinghouse, had tweeted out yesterday. Amazing, with total market cap of crypto only 1 billion 10 years ago, it seemed inevitable to me that we would see this day, but it's remarkable that it didn't even take a decade to get there. I'm more optimistic for the next 10. And he's retweeting this. Bitcoin's market cap has hit 1 trillion, I guess, yesterday. It would be the 6th largest company in the world. Apple, Saudi Aramco, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Bitcoin, 1 trillion. I believe that will go a lot higher, but there will be ups and downs along the way for various reasons, and I will always show you what those are. Okay, let's look at coin market cap. We are now at $1.76 trillion in this market, folks. I mean, it is really getting interesting. Okay, now XRP Crypto Wolf brought this to my attention. Former SEC chairman Mary Jo White says the SEC was dead wrong legally and factually to sue Ripple. White stated that the incoming SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, is an authority on cryptocurrency and is likely to take a personal interest in Ripple's case. Now, this gets interesting, folks. Listen to what she said. The first thing she said, just these quotes, there's no way to sugarcoat it. They're dead wrong legally and factually. And then she says, as a former U.S. attorney and SEC chair, you know that when it takes that long to figure out a case, you probably shouldn't bring it. It's something I would not do walking out the door. I think they worded that wrong. It's something I would not do walking out the door. I saw it in I believe a Fortune article too. Okay, Mr. B had a good tweet. This is really exactly where we are right here. He says, I look forward to the day XRP is released and set free from all the unfounded suppression and FUD. Hashtag free XRP. This is definitely one worthy of a retweet. Give him a follow if you don't already. It's at XRP Mister. And then also, I had tweeted this out this morning because this is how I think this goes down. There will be a day that you will tell your grandkids where you were the day Ripple settled things with the SEC lawsuit. I'm ready to tell it. And then this guy, Life is Limitless, replied with this. There's Gary Gensler. There's Mary Jo White, who was in that article I just showed you. She is also an attorney, one of the attorneys for Ripple, is my understanding. And just as a side note, that's Ben Bernanke, who was at Ripple Swell a couple of years ago and presided over the 2008 financial crisis. Here's Mary Jo White again, laughing with Gary Gensler. There are no coincidences, folks. Now, Elon Musk is tweaking Bitcoin now again. Yesterday he changed his whatever you call it, his little icon or whatever, to Bitcoin, okay, and then he says just for a day. In other words, he's playing around with this tweaking, Twitter and social media about Bitcoin and all. One day, I think Elon Musk, but it'll be when he's finally not joking anymore. When he comes out about XRP/XLM, you will know that the joke is over, because then you'll have a real reason to follow what Elon Musk posts with action. Right now, Dogcoin, Bitcoin, all that business, yeah, you can do it and you'll probably make some money, but they're not the ones. They're not even close, never have been. Hey, Oseko Carmona sent me this. The IMF, wondering how a central bank digital currency would be different from your credit card, Venmo, or Apple Pay? Our new IMF blog is a good start. Now, I'm not going to really get deep into this, I just wanted to show you the theme that the IMF keeps putting out. They keep putting out this theme of public-private coexistence. If you look here, let's see what it says. Private money, well, anyway, I'm not going to go deep into that. I just want to show you that they keep hitting this theme. A partnership with the private sector remains possible. So they want this to be a partnership, but they don't want to just have a public. They want to have a bridge to the CBDCs. That's what I think. So, you know, when they talk about wanting private and public partnerships, well, they were working on it back in 2017 when they formed the IMF, the advisory group, the high-level advisory group's what it was called. And they had Jeremy Allaire from Circle, which is backed by Goldman Sachs. They had, of course, Chris Larson from Ripple. And then they had Blythe Masters, who with Digital Asset, and she came from 27 years with JP Morgan. She created the credit default swap. There are no coincidences, folks. All of these people, when they talk about, and then MIT, by the way, is also all over this, which just, there's about 3 or 4 different, I think there's at least 2 or 3 people with backgrounds from Harvard and MIT that were in this group. And now, just by pure coincidence, Gary Gensler's heading to the SEC, and he's an MIT professor as well. Now I wanted to show you this from XRP Yo-Yo. Anna Boten, who is the chairman of Banco Santander and also a Ripple partner and shareholder, OnePayFX, Davos Agenda 2021 World Economic Forum. Listen to what she says.
My last point is that the challenge for Europe now is how efficiently we use these funds and the governance. And of course, there's a conditionality, which means reforms, which again are meant to speed up the digitalization and the energy transition. And Europe is going to do this together. And it's the only way to have a sustainable growth strategy. So great crisis, but also a great new opportunity.
I like the vaccination is the best economic policy this year. Good line.
A good one, yes.
Unlike 2008, the financial sector has not been at the heart of this crisis. In fact, it's been quite resilient, while the shock has been in the real, much more pronounced in the real economy. But I find bankers that I talk to quite sanguine about what could come next when the stimulus ends and bankruptcies begin. Do you think banks are underplaying the risks ahead?
Well, Runa, look, you know, there is uncertainty, but I like to define myself, and I define myself today as an optimist that worries a lot. So we do have to take great care. But the fact is the banking sector is liquid, well-capitalized, highly regulated, and intensively supervised. And this is something that was a consequence of 2008. And we have not been part of the problem, but part of the solution. I mean, Santander has been lending 1 billion euros a day since the start of the pandemic. We've grown our loans. So yes, I do think, of course, we have to be prudent. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. I like to call this radical uncertainty. But there's a lot of good work that has happened. And we actually, you know, we do need at some point, I wrote about this in the FT a few weeks ago, we do need to think ahead how it is that the financial system can continue supporting the economy and can use the buffers that we have built in an effective way. So, you know, we need to be safe for depositors. We also need to support the economy, especially in Europe, where banks are the majority of lending.
Okay, now just as a little reminder for those of you who haven't been around, this is Anna Boten when she was at the Economic Club of New York. While she's speaking, she references Brad Garlinghouse, who is in the audience and going to speak at the Economic Club of New York after she does, like the next day. These people are all in the same club: IMF, World Economic Forum, New York Economic Club. I could go on and on and on. Listen.
It's to do with all the payment rails behind what we actually build upon. And so, again, there's a number, you haven't asked me about Libra yet, but yes. So
by the way, that's Maria Bartiromo that's interviewing her on stage.
Tell me about Libra, Facebook's now.
So, but just to finish on this point, is that automation is the thing. You know, how do we automate to become and I think DLTs, or distributed ledger technologies, are going to be one of the pieces that is going to allow for much more efficient, faster. You know, the consumer wants everything 24/7, 365, and that's what we're going to be doing with this infrastructure change. So before going on to Libra, again, Ripple is helping us. And Brad is here tomorrow, so he'll tell you more about that. So we're working with them on OnePayFX, which was, I think, the first in this case. The first blockchain-based retail payments cross-border in the world. So for the moment, you need to be a customer of Santander UK or Poland. We're doing this between countries. It allows you to actually transfer money from one country to the other. In the case of the Eurozone, same day. But we also...
Okay, I just wanted you to see that clip, just so that's a huge bank, by the way. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. Listen very closely. This is Greg Kidd back in the day when Greg Kidd was at Ripple, one of the first 10 guys. All right, Greg Kidd, I've always believed that with regard to Ripple, Greg Kidd is probably, when I think of who the most important people in the history of Ripple are, I put him right there at the very top of the list. I think that he is downplayed to an extent, but I think he's one of the most important figures in the whole thing. And then Anderzel says, think of Ripple Labs like a combination. Well, this is actually a quote from Greg Kidd in this. Think of Ripple Labs as like a combination between a central bank and a sovereign wealth fund. Who says that about a startup company in year 1 or 2, which is when this was? Who says that about a startup company? My dad had a company, my father, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, he had a home building company. I think he was in that for 20 to 30 years. And there wasn't one time where he even whispered anything bordering on that. Or let's say, what could he say that was on par with that as a building company? Think of our building company as like a combination between a juggernaut that's worldwide building company. We're going to conquer or whatever. I mean, it's like this kind of thought pattern was never even in the realm. No small business thinks like this. How on earth would you even say anything like this unless there was a lot more going on? That's what I'm always thinking when I hear these kind of things.
Think of Ripple Labs as like a combination between a central bank and a sovereign wealth fund. It has a finite number of XRP, and it can give those out to help get the network started. If we give them all away, then they're no longer there. If they rise in value, then the company has that value on its balance sheet, and that has been very helpful for us, basically because the XRP have gone up in value. So we've been able to sponsor a number of R&D efforts with that digital currency. On the business model about how Ripple actually makes money, so if you're familiar with the company Red Hat, which takes Linux, which is an open source protocol, and helps basically package that up and train and provide support to corporations, that's very much Ripple's model. So we would help financial institutions basically adopt, integrate, use.
Pretty unbelievable things said there when you think about it. Now, this clip right here, I'm worried that the music over the top of it, it would be a copyright strike. I was debating as to whether to show it. You need to go watch it, okay? It's Bank XRP's Twitter handle. I'm not going to play it here, but it's Bank XRP. Toho Labs is now operating at an XRP validator, excuse me, from Pionen White Mountains, a former nuclear bunker 30 meters beneath the streets of Stockholm. As a part of our commitment to ensure the long-term health and stability of the XRP ledger, Toho Labs is now operating a validator from Pionen White Mountains, a former nuclear bunker. I mean, that right there is, Why? That's what I'm thinking is, why do you want, I mean, you know, what this makes me think of is, yeah, that makes complete sense. Have them in nuclear bunkers, but also hang them on satellites, Starlink satellites. This is what the plan has been all along, folks. I don't care what anybody says. This is about having an intergalactic currency for the purpose of having nodes everywhere, so that nobody can even have a chance of possibly taking down the network. And that's what this has been about all along. Greg Kidd was not joking when he said intergalactic currency. This is what it's been about all along, is that you've got to have these nodes all over the place so that it can't be taken down. Free American Spirit sent me this, and I just wanted to show this to remind you who this lady is. Anha Manuel, she had tweeted this. Ripple responds to SEC lawsuit over XRP sales. She is on Ripple's board, or I can't remember, board, or she's an advisor. But anyway, just for those of you that haven't been around, just as a reminder, she's a co-founder and partner at Rice, Hadley, Gates, Manuel. That would be the same. That would be Condoleezza Rice, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice under George W. Bush. It also has former National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley, former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates. So I just wanted to show you this to show you the kind of people that are on Ripple's board, and to say that there are no coincidences. She was also special assistant to the Undersecretary for Political Affairs, Nicholas Burns, in the State Department. All right, next. And this is, I'm going to show you something here that you need to stamp on your forehead. Mike Preston sent me this. I'm going to say this very, very clearly. Articles like this do not come out of nowhere. This was an article that hit CoinDesk on February 19th. A sudden loss of faith in Tether would pose risk to Bitcoin, JP Morgan says. If any issues arise that could affect the willingness or ability of both domestic and foreign investors to use USDT, the most likely result would be a severe liquidity shock to the broader cryptocurrency market, the report says. This is from the report. Most Bitcoin trading occurs not against fiat USD, but USDT, which is a stablecoin issued by Tether, Ltd, and pegged 1-to-1 to the US dollar. Data collected by NYDIG suggests that since 2019, around 50 to 60% of Bitcoin trades for USDT. USDT is engaged in a classic liquidity transformation along the lines of traditional commercial banks, but is not subject to the same strict supervisory and disclosure regime, and certainly does not have anything like deposit insurance. Tether Ltd claims reserve assets of cash and equivalents equal to their outstanding liabilities, but has famously not produced an independent audit and has claimed in court filings that they need not maintain full backing. Thus, were any issues to arise that could affect the willingness or ability of both domestic and foreign investors to use USDT, the most likely result would be a severe liquidity shock to the broader cryptocurrency market, which could be amplified by its disproportionate impact on HFT style market makers, which dominate the flow. They are giving a warning, folks, and this is what I want to show you. Buckle your seatbelts. New York Attorney General to decide on Tether in 30 days. This was around a little over 30 days ago when this article came out. And I said, I think it would be fascinating for Attorney Jeremy to focus on this. We may be focusing on the wrong case. And Attorney Jeremy, you remember, is Jeremy Hogan, who has legal briefs. You should go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's been summarizing the SEC lawsuit against Ripple. Well, this I don't know if this is a lawsuit, but this is a legal proceeding going on. I don't know what the deal is. But I'll bet Jeremy Hogan, if he ever decided to go through this, it would be a lot nastier than what is going on with the Ripple case. And it might be a lot more significant people's eyes may be looking on the shiny object in the wrong direction. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that maybe we ought to ask Jeremy Hogan to do a little video on Tether. Thank you for listening.